Hey everybody, Kyle Sasser here. It is everybody's favorite time of the month. That's right, market statistics time. These statistics are for Hillsborough County for the month of August 2023. So you might be asking yourself, we're in September, why are we looking at August numbers? And the answer is we can't really put the numbers together until the end of the month. and technically can't really put them together until 5 to 6 days after the end of the month. The reason why is some very particular MLS rules on when updates are allowed to happen. The 6th or 7th is usually the earliest that I can get these statistics in hand. After that, it does take us some time to record this video, edit this video, get it ready for publication. That is still a lot faster than the local MLS gets it out. The local MLS and also the state realtors body usually doesn't get these stats out until the 20th. So we can usually get these statistics out a couple weeks before the official state body releases its information. The other thing to know about this report is we are comparing year over year, not month to month. So we are comparing August 2023 numbers to August 2022 numbers. And the reason we do that is because there is a natural ebb and flow throughout the natural course of a calendar year where more homes will sell, less homes will sell, where more homes will sell and less homes will sell. Easiest example is school. August is pretty notorious for being a super slow month. So if you compare August to June or July, which are usually busier months, you're gonna have a bad time because it is not indicative of a change in the market. Now, obviously comparing year over year can be problematic because sometimes the market does shift in that period of time. So that's why context and this more lengthy report explanation is important because we do look at those keys. The overall trend for the last few years has basically been that things went crazy with COVID. Number of homes has been shrinking and was accelerated by the pandemic. Currently, we are at the lowest home inventory numbers pretty much ever. We had a little bit of a dead period in July 2022 to March 2023. So basically the second half of last year up until the beginning of this year, the market, home prices dropped. We were able to negotiate huge price reductions and lots of everything. When I reach out and say, hey, now is a great time to buy, like, I don't say that just to say that. I say that because the circumstances in the market are such that it is an actual good time to, like, the circumstances has changed. You know, the people that were willing to go and look at homes during that point in time were able to capitalize on that. Since then, since about March, a number of buyers has come back to the market, and we have seen increasing home prices because of that. The overall reason why I will touch on in the analysis section after I go over the specific stats. There's a very clear reason why this is happening, why this has been happening, and why it's going to continue to be the case for the foreseeable future, meaning years, probably. It's not that that's bad news, it's information that you have to digest so that you can understand what is going on in the market. Whether you're buying or selling, like it's never an overwhelmingly great time to sell, it's never an overwhelmingly great time to buy. It's always going to be differing shades. There's always going to be hurdles and roadblocks and problems. It's just a question of, you know, which particular roadblocks are you going to be facing whenever you decide to make the decision to, you know, purchase a home or sell a home. And before you go, you know, accusing me of being super duper salesy, just know that I bought a house, you know, at the peak of the market last year at market interest rates. So again, there's always hurdles when buying something. There's no getting around that. For example, if everyone says, oh man, I wish that I would have bought a house back in like 2008 or 2009. Well, the reason you didn't buy a house back then is because a lot of the country was out of a job. Everyone was extraordinarily worried about the economy, and banks were not lending mortgages. You had to have such ridiculous credit and collateral to get a loan that most people could not qualify for a loan. And the reason why is because the banks were hoarding that money to, make sure that they survived. So when I say that there's hurdles and obstacles no matter what, it is the absolute truth. Now, if you remember back to math class, we have median and we have average. So average, that's the one everybody knows. You take price of 5 houses, you add it up, you divide it by 5, that gives you the average sales price. Median is a little bit different. With median sales price, so let's say you have 200 homes for sale. The median sales price is the point at which you have 100 homes at a higher price and 100 homes at a lesser price. The main difference is average home prices can swing relatively wildly if a larger number than usual of very expensive homes or very inexpensive homes sell. So like if 6 or 7 $50,000 homes sell during a given point in time, that can really pull that average down. Whereas the median sales price, because of the nature of being the midpoint of the market, doesn't tend to move as much based on the far highs and low ends of the market. It is more of a true midpoint of the market. If you would like your own copy of these reports so you can follow along, you can access that. There should be a link down below, either to the report page on our website or a link to the PDF of this report. It's about 13 pages, covers everything that I'm covering here today. All right, let's dive into these numbers for Hillsborough County for August 2023. Again, if you would like to follow along with these, you can download your own reports via the link, should be in the description there. Closed sales down 9.6% from 1,548 to 1,400 homes. Total number of cash sales was down 23.7% from 410 to 313. Median sales price was up 6.7% from 418,000 to 445,950. Average sales price was up 7.6% from 525,892 to 565,839. Dollar volume, which I don't usually look at too much, although this was above $1 billion at one point. But is down 2.7% from 814 million to 792 million. Median percent of original list price is down 0.9%. It's hanging out at 98% of the original asking price. Interestingly, that is higher than Pinellas County's is, which is a little unexpected. Median time to contract is 58.3% up, a total of 19 days. Last year was at 12. Shortest we were at was, Hillsborough County was like 7, 8, 9, 10 days, depending upon the price. So we were definitely under 10 days last year. So yeah, so we were around like 5, 6, 7 days last year. Currently we're at 19 days. Total number of new listings is down 23.4% from 2,195 to 1,682. Total active inventory is down 29% from 3,637 to 2,584. And doom and gloom section, foreclosures and short sales, up 66.7%, which sounds terrible. There was only 10. Went from 6 foreclosures last year to 10 this year. Now, I do like to touch on a couple month-to-month things because I do think some context is important here. So if we look at median sales price, so the peak last year was June 2022. Was at 430,000. That dropped all the way to $399,990 in February 2023. So, dropped like $33,000 there-ish, and has recovered all the way to $445,950 in 8 months. So that is a significant movement in that short of a period of time. The other interesting piece I'd like to touch on here is total active inventory. So this is basically the last day of the month. We take a snapshot of the market. We see how many homes are for sale in the entire county. So August 2022, there was a total of 3,637. That peaked in November at 3,769. We then sold a bunch of stuff. In April, we hit another low of 2,197. But again, we are currently listing more homes that are selling, and that's been the case for a while, for a few months. And we're up to 2,584 homes for sale. So we've kind of done, you know, that for total number of inventory. Now, there's psychological reasons for why increasing inventory doesn't immediately show up in median sales price reduction. My suspicion is we will probably see some bouncing here in the next few months with the median sales price and the number of homes sold. It could be catastrophic, who knows? But generally speaking, things don't usually get too crazy in real estate, 2021 and 2022 excluded. So usually the current trend holds. And I'll get to that in the analysis section. Now, I do like to break things down by sales price because the honest truth is $1 million home sells in a little bit different time frames than $400,000 homes. I sell both. I have sold multi-million-dollar homes. I have sold $400,000 homes. So far as listing preparation, preparing the marketing, putting the listing up, talking to buyers, holding open houses, negotiations, contract inspections, as far as all that stuff, they're pretty identical. Do not let anybody tell you that there's a major difference between, $1 million homes and $400,000 homes. The main difference is how long it takes. So total number of closed sales by price. If you're looking for something under 200,000, it has been challenging. And that shows up here, the total number of closed sales. Under 100,000, there was a total of 2. 100 to 150,000 was down 41.7% to a total of 7. 150,000 to 200,000 was down 11.5% to 23. 200,000 to 250,000 was down 8.9%, total of 41. 250,000 to 300,000 was down 25%, total of 66 in the entire county. So that's not a lot of houses under that $300,000 mark. And every time I see that, that makes me super sad. 300 to 400,000 is down 21.7%, total of 397. 400,000 to 600,000 is down 1.1%, 526. So we can see that, that's holding pretty steady. 600,000 to 1 million is down 8.1% to 239. And $1 million or more is up 32%, total of 99. Median time to contract is not as hard as Pinellas County is. This is kind of one of those little quirks because there is a super short time frame here. So I'm just kind of double checking some things. All right, makes sense. So those 2 homes that were 50 to 100,000 stayed on the market for a very long time. They were 42 days median time to contract. 100 to 150,000 was down 68.1%, total of 15. 150,000 was super quick, 3 days was the median time to contract there. Everything else, though, is kind of in this, mid double digits. So 200 to 250 was 12, 250 to 300,000 was 15, 300 to 400,000 was 19. Pinellas County, just so you know, is quicker than that. It's not as fast as it was in peak 2022 craziness, which was 5 or 6 days, but it's at 9 days. 400 to 600,000 is at 20 days, 600 to $1 million is at 18, and $1 million or more is at 36 days. Next up, I'd like to touch on, I'll hit some of the high points on new listings. Basically, number of new listings is down across the board. 150 to 200,000 is up 13.3% to 34. That is the only one that is positive. 200 to 250 is down 7.8%, total of 47. Most of these are down 30%. 300 to 400,000 is down 30.2%, total of 450. 400 to 600,000 is down 22.0%, total of 626. 600 to $1 million is down 23.4%, total of 288. And total inventory by list price, 150 and under, there's a total of 3 houses. 150 to 200,000 is down 51%, total of 18. 200 to 250,000, there's 64.4% fewer homes for sale, total of 31. 250 to 300,000 is down 43%, total of 98. 300 to 400,000 is at 533, that is 40% fewer homes than last year. 400 to 600,000 is down 26.3%, total of 980. 600 to 1 mil is down 21.3%, total of 544. And $1 million or more is down 8.5%, total of 379. So inventory is down across the board. But again, we're not selling all those, so we are building inventory. So that's great, Kyle. You say those numbers are absolutely terrifying. How is median sales price going up when we're still building inventory? Shouldn't more supply mean lower home prices? Generally speaking, yes. Problem is real estate is very inelastic. Kind of going to pull back to a bird's eye view here of the situation. You've probably read stories about, private companies buying up a ton of new homes to rent them out. Probably also have read stories about Airbnbs, people buying all the single family homes up to set them up as Airbnbs. Those are aggravating factors. Those are not root causes. The root cause is after 2007. And I'll put a little chart up here so you can see. What happened is after the 2007, 2008 crash, builders got absolutely wrecked. So basically the number of new homes that were getting started dropped by 80%. They were, you'll see it in this chart here. So there is a precipitous drop after 2008, which you would expect. The thing of note is that look at how slow that recovery line is. And if we draw a line from where we're at now, you can see that we are really only building as many homes as we were in the early to mid 90s. But meanwhile, we do have millions more people in the country. So bird's eye view, it's not a demand problem. Demand has not changed that much. I have pulled numbers going all the way back to as far as I could go, which was like 2002. The number of homes selling has not changed that much, a few hundred plus or minus. What has changed is the number of homes that are for sale. They grew a huge amount after 2007, and then they have been, contracting more or less since then. Obviously, the last few years has been relatively acute. And even with interest rates, so at the time I'm recording this, interest rates are currently right at 7%. So the lowest I'm seeing is like FHA and VA loans, that are hanging around like 6.99%. Most conventional loans with 5% to 20% down is hanging around 7.25 to 7.5%. Even with that, the number of homes that are selling are holding relatively steady, but prices are still going up. So the problem is it's a supply problem. And the problem with a real estate supply problem is it takes forever for that to get solved. The best corollary I can kind of give you here is think of like the super hot kids toy at Christmas. Tickle Me Elmo, Cabbage Patch Kids. I'm sure I'm dating myself here with all these. I don't even know what the most recent one's been. Oh, PS5. Whenever this toy first gets released, you hit that first Christmas season, everybody loses their mind. And the problem is not the number of people buying. And yeah, there is like that initial rush sort of thing, but the solution is not to, scalpers, yes, they suck. But the solution is not to try to regulate that part of it. The solution comes when the factory starts cranking out a lot more of whatever it is. Like that is what solves a supply problem. And the issue with real estate is from the time a developer decides to build more houses, it is usually 3 to 5 years before those houses actually get built. They have to put the plan together. First of all, they have to find land, they have to negotiate a sales price. They then have to put together the site plan for it, get that run through the county planning, get that approved. Once that's approved, they have to lay down, groundwork. They have to put roads, utilities, those sorts of things in. And then at that point, they can finally build the model and start selling new homes. And then that's usually when the buyers come along. And from that point, it is, I've actually had some super fast new constructions recently, which is a little unique. On the short side, 3.5 to 4 months. On the long side, 8 months to a year is also not unusual. So if you're looking in new homes, which I am able to help you with, if you're looking at new homes, just know it's usually a 3 to 12 month process for those. But so you have that huge lead time. So even if last year every builder was like, holy cow, we need to build a ton more homes, they're not actually going to show up in the market for another year or two. So yeah, so we need more housing, we need more housing units. And I'm loath to say that because I, like many of you, don't really, suburban sprawl and all that stuff. Like I definitely like open land and forests and animals and, food. So I think that we should definitely need to go about that in a intelligent way instead of just, blasting houses out everywhere. But it's really a supply problem is what is going to get us out of this housing price crunch. And that's some of the bad news. So far as like, is it a good time to sell or is it a good time to buy? It definitely a little bit in the seller's favor now. But honestly, if you're going to buy, like I said, I have bought a house in the last year at going market interest rates, and they were not great. I can tell you that much. But the important part on the buying side is you only have so many years on this planet, and you really need to live where it's going to make you happy. Now, if you're situated somewhere that you're perfectly happy and content in for the next few years, perfect. If you are in a place and you have decided that you would maybe be happier in some other location, just pull the trigger, make the move. I promise you'll be happy with your move. I am absolutely thrilled with the home purchase that I made this year, even knowing where I'm at now. Now, if you're looking for like investments or stuff like that, that's a completely different discussion. And honestly, your home's technically a liability because it costs you money. But, it is an asset, but thinking of it as an investment that should generate ROI that should be like your fourth criteria after, is it in an area that I want to live in and is it within my budget? The problem is homes that have a high return on investment are generally in locations that you're not really interested in living in. So I know we kind of got in the weeds there a little bit on kind of the big picture stuff. Honestly, it's going to be like this for a while. It's going to take a while to correct. And, again, I wish I had the power to, fix it, but, but I don't. So all I can do is just give you the honest information so you can make the best decisions for yourself. Generally speaking, it is still much, much, much better to purchase and own a house than it is to rent, primarily because when you rent, that money is gone. And with where rents are currently, that can be $48,000 in 2 years, relatively easily. Even if you can find like some place for like $1,200, like that's going to be $25,000 in 2 years. So, and that money is just gone. Yes, a home is definitely going to cost money. Interest rates are going to be high. There's some things that you can do depending upon what the market does to mitigate that. You can buy down the interest rate. You can refinance later on if interest rates go down. Unspoken thing is if you put a higher down payment down, say like 30-40%, you will actually get a much lower interest rate than the 30 or 20% down fixed stated that you see everywhere. So there's things that you can do, but it all starts with deciding to make that, improvement in your life. It's relatively easy, but I can tell you that, buyers are more picky now than they were in 2021 and 2022. You will still see sight unseen offers, but you really don't see offers where there's, they're okay with no repairs or anything like that. We're kind of back to the point where the house needs to be in pretty good shape. It needs to be relatively modernized, or you will probably get some repair requests. That's just kind of the nature of things right now. That's how the market is. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in to these market statistics report. My name is Kyle Sasser. I'm with KW St. Pete. I do these reports each and every month. Feel free to follow that link down below. You can subscribe and get an update whenever these videos are released. You can also download your own copy of this report at our website, ashlerre.com. We also have something kind of new, kind of cool. We have a customer portal that we have set up. So if you become a client of ours, all of your relevant information on, how to buy a house, how to sell a house, pre-approval letters, contracts, surveys, all those sorts of documents that get spread everywhere to every corner of your email inbox are centrally located in one location. And we do that as a service to our clients. It's one of those things where I would get emails routinely from people, 4 or 5 years ago. Hey, where's my survey? Do you have a copy of my survey? What was this on our inspection? And it wasn't that I was always happy to go back and find them because they're organized in, in my email inbox there. But I was like, hey, this is an opportunity to show how the way real estate should be. And I also have a background in IT and web development. So I was like, I will just build a website that people are able to log in and access all of their documents. So if you would like to experience the way real estate should be, you can reach out to me, Contact information is down below in the description. You can send me an email, kyle@ashlerre.com. You can also book a call via the link down below. And I promise I'm super friendly, always happy to talk with you, no matter where you're at in your home buying or home selling process. Even if you think you're like 2, 3, 4 years in the future, I can tell you my record is about 15 years. Somebody called me up, they're like, hey, I want to talk to you about buying a place, but I'm not really going to be buying for 15 years. So that's currently my record. So, worst case, if you're really far out, you will be my new record. But most people are usually, 6 months to a year or something like that. That is perfectly acceptable to reach out and have a conversation. My name is Kyle Sasser. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.